Oh, baby, 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 baby. We are eating all pig snout tonight. You understand? Look at here, look at here. So, right now, we have a beautiful um, topic I want to discuss today. So, yeah, just keep in mind it's fuck shit time, right? So, the Joe Budden podcast released on YouTube today on May 11th, 2023. Episode 625 entitled Watch This. Now, keep in mind that I myself am a Joe Budden pod watcher now ever since probably the pandemic. It's been about 3 years now. So I saw the show when it was in underneath its full swing. Had the previous two gentlemen, bare minimum on the pod, and so I watched them for a good year or so before they departed from the Joe Budden podcast, and now we have what they call the Bionic Six, um, in which to me this is a better version of the show. Just being a viewer over the past 3 years out of the eight, haven't really. I went back and watched quite a few episodes actually, of the Joe Budden podcast with Roy Maul and of course Parks. And I have to say that, in my opinion, the Bionic Six is killing it. They're crushing it. Um, Now, this particular episode 625 that I'm viewing here, now it dropped on YouTube today. But keep in mind that I'm actually a Patreon subscriber as well, and I'm at the friend of the show level. So we actually got it yesterday, a full day before it dropped on YouTube. And the thing is that I mean I enjoyed it because I was really anticipating the response, Joe, and to see how he would respond to Gillie the Kid, because Gillie and him have this back and forth thing. And this is another thing about podcasts. A lot of podcasts talk about current events, and technically they're like the new news. This is where people get a lot of their topics and entertainment and celebrity coverage, or just things that go on in the world. Uh, but Joe, ever since the complex this has come, it's ruffled a lot of feathers in the podcast and media game, and a lot of subliminals have been fired with a lot of people who were on the list, especially when you get to the top of the list. And when it comes to the people who didn't make the list, a lot of people were, shooting a lot of subliminals at each other over the past few weeks. Now, Joe made a point to take a shot at Gillie of Gillie and Wallow's $1 million worth of game podcast, and he specified that he took a subliminal shot about people's small windows in their main bedroom and all that. I didn't understand what he was saying at the time, but when I went to Twitter, somebody pointed out one of the skits that Gillie does with this girl in the bedroom, and he showed the little window. I fell out. I mean, I was absolutely rolling because I realized that's what they were talking about. And Joe takes little digs like that, just so he plants a seed so it can just blossom to this beautiful flower of fuckery, and I love it. And I think that's what a lot of people are here for. They want to see their favorite platforms kind of go in and take digs at other people who's their competition. Now, when Joe's came to this particular episode, it appeared that he was ready for the smoke. And keep in mind, they're not at, they don't have the barrels out fully. This is something that they're just taking little shots at each other. And eventually it's going to get real crazy because a few weeks ago, Joe went in on the bare minimum boys, and that went crazy. And I think that when he gets to that point with Gillie and Wallow, I want to say both Gillie and Wallow because they're a team, and eventually, both are going to probably eventually get involved. But right now, when he's at this lower stage, you have some of his co-hosts. They're not really with it, especially in this episode of Watch This, episode 625. As you can see, Queen's Flip here. I don't think he was fully committed to that because he seemed like he was kind of under the weather, and you could tell by his face he really wasn't feeling the shots that he was taking. And of course, Ish, he liked. I think he likes the bullshit on the low, but he didn't really want to, laugh too hard or go in because he don't want to really be in it too either. You know what I mean? But gotta say that Joe is poking. He gearing up. He's loading the ammunition. Please believe he's behind the scenes, getting information and recon or whatever he got to do to make this thing, be ready when the smoke comes. And just overall, this is just a great episode, like it always is. I enjoy all of the pods, including the exclusive Patreon content, which I think people should actually subscribe because it's actually worth it if you really like the JBP. And but Joe he's poking, he's ready for the bullshit, and this is what I want to see. I want to see the top dogs in podcasting go at each other here and there just to spice things up. Joe Budden is a mastermind when you listen to him and how he conducts himself, especially on the exclusive content episode. You can see the wheels turning in his head and how he's able to manipulate certain things, and he's able to craft certain narratives and make people kind of steer people in the way he wanted to go for great content, and it's brilliant. It's very entertaining, and this guy is really the Professor X of this podcast shit, and I can't wait to see what's going on here for us for this particular year.